been a little while since I've done a tag video, so this is the Classics book tag. I wasn't tagged by anyone, but I will put the original link in the description. Question 1 is an overhyped classic, one that you didn't really like. I have two for this category. One is Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita. I've been talking about this one quite a lot recently because I did a video on the design of Lolita over the years. But the book itself I didn't like. I was conflicted about this one as well because I wasn't sure whether to give it 5 stars for what it managed to achieve or 1 star for how I actually felt about it. So in the end I went for how I felt about it. The other one is Persuasion by Jane Austen, and this was a surprise to me. I was really expecting this to be my favourite of the Austens. It's her most mature novel and I had seen a television adaptation and really loved it, so I was sorely disappointed by the book itself. It seems very wrong to be saying this. I maintain that Northanger Abbey is the best of Austen's novels. The second question is, what is your favourite time period to read about? Besides contemporary fiction, I like reading stuff that is from the late 19th century and the early 20th century. This covers many of my favourite authors, from Oscar Wilde through to Katherine Mansfield, Christopher Isherwood. You've got E.M. Forster in there, Evelyn Waugh, Virginia Woolf. The books from this period that I most like tend to be pre-World War II, to be a bit more specific. Question 3 is your favourite fairy tale. My favourite fairy tale is The Little Mermaid. Not the Disney version, but the original. I think that the Disney version sends a terrible, terrible message to young girls, and I feel like the original has a much better message. The Little Mermaid is given the option of either killing the prince, who is to marry somebody else, or to sacrifice herself, and she chooses the latter. I think it's a really complex fairy tale and it says a lot about women's roles, and I really don't like the way that it was changed for the Disney film. The fourth question is the most embarrassing classic that you haven't read yet, and I have 2 for this. One is George Orwell's Animal Farm, which I really should just get to because it's really short. The other one is Mrs. Dalloway. I've read quite a lot of Virginia Woolf's other stuff, but this is known to be one of her best works. So that leads me quite nicely into the next question. The top 5 classics that you want to read soon. Death of the Heart by Elizabeth Bowen. I've heard lots of good things about Elizabeth Bowen and I'm sure that I'm going to love her books. We've got Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson. I haven't read any Jeanette Winterson yet. I'm sure that I'm going to love her as well. I've got at least 3 of her books on my shelf. Then The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Again, this one's really short. I have no excuse for having not read it yet. Then there's 100 Years of Solitude. I've got this on audiobook, so I plan to listen to that in the near future. And the same goes for Anna Karenina. I have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy that one more than War and Peace. Next one is a modern book or series that's based on a classic. And this one I'm kind of struggling with. I'm sure that as soon as I've finished filming this, I will think of something that would be perfect for this answer. Question 7, your favourite TV or film adaptation of a classic. Now, as I've mentioned before, the TV adaptation of Persuasion is one of my favourites, despite me not really enjoying the book. This is the one with Sally Hawkins and Rupert Penry-Jones. I also like the adaptations of E.M. Forster's novels. The next question is your least favourite television or film adaptations. I did see part of an adaptation of Tess of the D'Urbervilles, which I thought was kind of dreadful. Very, very slow paced. It probably doesn't help that Tess of the D'Urbervilles is one of those books that I really dislike. I would have to say that the most recent of the Narnia films, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, was pretty appalling. That's one of my favourites of the Narnia books and I feel like they really did not do it any justice. All the pictures that were in my head were completely contrary to what I was seeing on screen. So yeah, I wasn't very impressed by that one. Question 9. Favourite editions that you'd like to collect more books from? For starters, there are the Penguin drop caps. I've got 2 of them here. That's A and Z. I've also got F, which is Flaubert's Madame Bovary. And I've also got Proust's Swan's Way, which I think is one of the more beautiful ones. I know some people really don't like these, but I like the way that they feel in your hands, the way that the edges of the pages match the colour of the actual book. I like the way that they're typeset. I'm a big fan of Jessica Hische, who did all of the lettering designs, and I think they look fantastic together whether or not you've got all of them. I would quite like to collect the whole set. They've got a great range of books from really old classics to much more modern ones. Also from Penguin are the Clothbound Classics. I only own the copy of Moby Dick, but I think it's one of the particularly good ones. It also seems to be pretty well typeset. You haven't got too much crowding on the page and the font isn't too small. They also have a ribbon bookmark, which is a detail I really like. Finally, there are the Virago Modern Classics. I have 3 of these, one by Daphne du Maurier, which is Rebecca. I've got Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, and Excellent Women by Barbara Pym. All of these have beautiful fabric designs on the front, spine and back. The designs are relevant in some way to the book or the time period that they were written in. For instance, this one was designed by Lois Mailou Jones in the Harlem Renaissance. This is a contemporary design by Aura Keeley, but this was first published in the 50s and it has that kind of kitschy feel to it. The end papers in these are all plain, but they do go nicely with the outside as well. The one from Rebecca is just this sort of steely grey. As you can see, they all go very nicely together, so I wouldn't mind having a few more of those. And finally, an underhyped classic that you'd recommend to everyone. And my recommendation is right here. The Complete Stories of Katherine Mansfield. Mansfield is one of my favourite writers of all time. She wrote exclusively short stories. The writing is beautiful and I just love her attention to detail. These are all of my Katherine Mansfield related books. She wrote lots of letters and journals, so I have some of those here as well, and biographies, so I'm a little bit obsessed. So that's it for the Classics book tag. Thank you very much for watching and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye.